Well, it's never been established to exist, and it's never been agreed upon as to what it means. Other than meaning and existence, there's no problem with our witness, causation. As I say, it's been disagreed about throughout history. It's what it means and whether it exists is disagreed about today by the top schools of thought in contemporary thinking. And as we've talked about a bit, it's cast into doubt by relativity theory, by quantum science, by the recognition of random events, by the theory of emergentism, and by certain quantum phenomena that we've not really discussed yet. And maybe we should, with your permission, divert into the quantum phenomena like entanglement and tunneling and wave particle duality. That sounds very complicated and technical perhaps for some of the audience, but it's much simpler than it sounds. Because that's a good, if we could divert there for a second, not even a diversion, it's a good illustration of why causation has got some serious problems.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because I think the argument you're making is starting to kind of come into view for me, at least. And essentially, I think what we're saying is that Sam Harris and people that believe free will is an illusion are Newtonian. They're basing it on Newtonian physics, basically. And what you're saying is Newtonian physics is a bad thing to base this analysis on, because relativity and quantum mechanics tell us Newtonian physics doesn't accurately describe the physics of reality. So let's branch off into why it is that causation is a problem scientifically. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, you just framed the issue perfectly, because at the end of the day, both sides on this debate, both types of scientists, the kind that think that causation is somehow underneath all of this probability baloney, and that one day we'll find out why. The scientists who believe that the correct model of the universe is probable and that the Newtonian model is out. Yeah. All sides agree that quantum equations best describe how reality is going to behave. They predict reality. Causal equations don't. Yep. And I say in the book, look, when the rubber meets the road, something else is going on besides causation. If it weren't, then causal equations would be what captures how reality works. Yep. Everybody in the debate recognizes they don't. Causal equations are used when imprecise, relatively speaking, predictions are needed. I say it the reverse. The most precise quantum measurements, if they're not needed to get that guy to the moon, then we'll use causal equations. But whenever precision is needed, quantum equations are what works. So that's sort of the pedal to the metal, and you sort of framed that. So I wanted to come back to the way you put it. At the end of the day, something else is going on besides causation if causal equations from the Newtonian model cannot explain how reality works. So that's a key problem for determinists to talk to us about. Us, as in the non-determinist lobby. The other thing that I alluded to that I think you were going towards was there's phenomena that were discovered in the quantum exploration of the universe that can't work by causation. They just can't. Yeah. The main example and the most notorious perhaps is called entanglement. And entanglement is when you have two twin particles that somehow have a correlation with each other. They're created in a special way and they have a correlation, so that when something happens to one of the particles, instantly something else happens to the other particle. They could be two galaxies away. They could be so far away that the speed of light can't intervene to communicate the signal. They don't have a preset. If this is one shoe, this has to be the other shoe. That's been shown mathematically not to work. They're set at the time the first particle over here in this universe is measured and zapped for some non-causal reason that can't be explained. The other particle is doing something else. And that something else correlates to what's over here.